Alright, good morning YouTube. What I'm going to show you today is how to form cases, the parent cartridge being 8x57 Mauser. We're going to take 8x57 Mauser and we're going to turn it into 8x56 Mannlicher Schoenauer. I don't speak German, I can barely speak English, so forgive me, I know I'm saying it probably incorrectly. So anyhow, you know what I'm talking about. So I bought a rifle about a year ago, a 1908 I think is the model, Mannlicher, and commercial model 1908, and it's an 8x56, and cartridges are not easily obtainable. You can get them at times from Buffalo Arms and I'm sure other retailers, but it's kind of expensive. And it's hard to get. But if you're only going to shoot the gun 20 times, you're probably better off to just go ahead and wait and buy some from Buffalo Arms or from wherever you find them. This cartridge is different. It is not the same as the military 8x56R that all the straight pull Austrian rifles, military rifles use. This is the one that's for the commercial model. It's rimless. Performance is I guess close to 8x57 Mauser, somewhere between maybe a 35 Remington, maybe a hot 35 Remington or an 8 Mauser or something like that, or a pretty downloaded 308, or again they're all sort of in the same family. But at any rate, we're going to take these 8x57 Mauser cartridges and brass casings, and we're going to form them into 8x56 Mannlicher Schoenauer, and then we can reload them. You use standard 323 diameter bullets, projectiles, to reload. These happen to be 195 grain soft points. They work great for what I intend to do with the rifle, which would be white-tailed deer here in South Georgia. What you need first of all, and I got these from RCBS, and you can get them from wherever they're usually going to be a special order. You're not going to find somebody to have them on the shelf probably, but you need a 5.8 238. That's 5.8 238, and it uses a shell holder number 3 if you don't already have that particular shell holder. So make sure you get the forming die set from RCBS or whatever your favorite die makers are. You can get it from them. I'm sure they make them as well, but RCBS makes these. I got these through Huntington. I believe it was Huntington Die Company or something like that, and they're in California. Really nice people to deal with. I've dealt with them before. First rate, but again, you can get them anywhere, but you'll need that. And when you open the box on that, what you're going to have is a die. I've already installed this one in the press, so it looks sort of like this one looks sort of like a standard die. It's open on the top, and this is sort of the final seating die that you're going to use. And 8x57, of course, is 57 millimeters long. 8x56 is 56 millimeters. So you're going to either trim these 1 millimeter beforehand, or you can use this final die, the final forming die. You can use it to trim the casings, because they're going to stick out 1 millimeter out of the top of this die, and then you can take a bastard file. They don't know who their daddies are, or you can could take the bastard file and you can trim it, and you're not going to hurt this die. This material cannot, well, I'm sure you can hurt it with something, but it's so hard you're not going to hurt it with a die, and that's what it's designed to do. I elect to take a die trimmer and trim them beforehand 1 millimeter. It's easy to do, and then you have it the right length, and then you can run it through this die, and you can just feel of it to make sure it's not sticking out, and you have the right length. But you measure it with a micrometer. You already know that. So that die is included in this set, and then this is the actual main forming die. It's kind of I didn't know, kind of an odd looking thing, and when I first opened the box, what the hell do you do with this thing? So there's no threads, and so it tells you in the manual that you need an arbor press. Well, I didn't even know what an arbor press was. Didn't have anybody to tell me either, so that's why I'm making this video. Maybe this will help you, and this information, I guess, could work for other cartridges maybe. So if you're looking to do another cartridge conversion or a cartridge forming, you could do it. And another thing, this is the way that I did it. I didn't have any instruction really on how to do it. I'm sure there are other ways to do it. There are probably better ways to do it. This is just the way that I did it. It works. I fired the cases through my rifle, fired the cartridges through my rifle. They work great, no problems, no splitting, no problems. So, I'm sure a lot of people say, oh, well, you should have done this first, you should have done that, oh, all this. Okay, well, maybe, but this works. So if you have an improvement, you know how to do something better, go ahead and do it, and that's fine. I didn't know what an arbor press was. I bought this little Mickey Mouse arbor press from Disney World. No, that's a joke. I bought this arbor press, and it's a Bald Eagle Precision Products. It worked fine for about 5 or 6 or 7 of the cartridges, making them forming. But then it started getting loose, and it won't work if it gets loose. So what I did, I took it to a buddy of mine who's a machinist, and he drilled 2 holes. I had marked the shaft here where the holes needed to be drilled. So he drilled 2 holes, and he made these pins for me out of drill stock and drill bit stock. And so what these are stops. So they won't allow the press to go any farther. You don't have to mess with this Mickey Mouse knob that's in theory supposed to tighten this to keep it from moving on the main shaft. Well, this doesn't work. And I was already too far into it. I had kind of damaged it, so I couldn't return it. And I'm not about returning stuff anyway. So I was able to make it work, and maybe you can, if you get one of these, you can do this, or you can do some research and find a better arbor press. Most arbor presses are large, more for the automotive industry or industrial use. And I'm sure there may be other arbor presses that are used in reloading. I'm sure there are. This is the one that I stumbled on first. I didn't do any research. I bought it, and really, it with this modification, it works great. So I guess ultimately, I don't have any complaints other than the fact that I had to have it modified. So, take an 8x57 Mauser cartridge casing. These are numbered. This die is numbered. It has number 1 on this end. It has number 2 on this end. So what you do first, of course, you start with number 1. You put it in here, and you put it in the press, and you form it for the first forming. Then you take it out and you flip it over, and you're going to put it number 2, and then you're going to form it in that particular position. Then you're going to take it out, and then you're going to put it in the last die. And in all this time, you can use a little lube, or I just would shoot a little WD-40 on it to help. It really is not necessary in this die. And another thing, it doesn't have to be, it's not going to be flush. When you form this casing in both positions, it's not going to be flush, so don't worry about that. Again, I didn't have anybody really to tell me anything about that, and it doesn't cover that in the instruction manual. So you just push it down as far as it will go, and then you're done. Because you're really, I think you're just really working on the neck. You're forming this neck to go from 8x57 into 8x56, and you're going to trim it 1 millimeter. So this is the pin that knocks the casings out of the die after you formed them. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start with number 1, of course. We're going to put it in there. We're going to take the press, and you just kind of line it up like that, and then you push it down like that. Use as much force as you can muster. Then you take a socket. Any size will work, as long as this happens to be a 3/4 inch, and it's probably about 1 inch. So you could use anything cylindrical, about 1 inch in height or in length, and that's what you're going to use to get the casing out of the first position. So you're going to take the casing, you're going to put it over the socket, you're going to put your rod down in there, and then you're going to do this. And now you could use a hammer if you wanted to for taking the casings out. That'd be fine. You could even use, I guess, a mallet or a hammer to form them if you didn't have an arbor press. And with the aggravation I went through with the arbor press, I would have been better off to have been using you know, a hammer. But you still are going to need something. A good flat surface, or maybe even well, you wouldn't need a vise, but anyhow, you could use a hammer and just a good hard surface to form them, the casings. So to get that out, then you just do this, and I'm going to have to stand up, and that pops out. Okay, take the rod out. Well, thought it did. Sorry about that. So we're going to redo that. Let's see. I don't know what's happened here. Okay, so that's out. Okay, then your next thing you're going to do is move it to the number 2, put it in there. Then we need to reinstall our Mickey Mouse pin. We're going to put that in there. And then we're going to push down and form that. And then again, it's only going to go in so far, and this much is going to kind of stick out, as you know, generally. So then we're going to remove the pin. Then we're going to put it on the socket like so. And then I'm using this little piece of aluminum from a kinetic cartridge puller as a little more spacer, because my 1-inch socket is not quite long enough to work with this press the way that it is. So we're just going to juggle this deal, and we're going to, okay, that's out. So you may want to do 20 casings at one time in the first step. Then then take those 20 casings and do all the number 2 step. Just for the purposes of this video, I'm doing it all at one time. You know, you can do it in stages if you wish. When I originally did I did 20 casings. When I originally did my 20 casings, I still did them this way. I did 1 step, 2 step, and then I did the 3rd step all at one time. So what you do then is next you'll take, and I just spray just a very, very small amount of WD-40, and then you're going to put it in the press with your 3rd die here already set, and then you're going to run it up. And again, I was just, at the time, I was just feeling, making sure that we didn't have anything, any brass sticking up, but you know, that's fine. I knew I wouldn't because it was trimmed already. And then you just pull that down, and then you end up with a formed 8x56 Mannlicher that you can shoot in your 1908 commercial rifle. You know, loading data is not available. Oh, and another thing you're going to need is, of course, a set of dies. These are available, just the dies. The forming die set is not hardly available other than special order. But you can find 8x56 Mannlicher dies. I bought these off of eBay used, and they work great. So then you would just reload like you normally would. Still using, of course, the number 3 shell holder. And what I did, I treated it to begin with like a 30-40 Krag. I looked at data for a 30-40 Krag, and I looked at data for a 35 Remington, because those are all, you can find data for around a 200 grain bullet. and that's what I was using, was a 195 grain bullet. And of course, these again, the beauty of this is that it is 323, so there's no special bullet that you're going to need other than standard 8mm. I treated it like a 35 Remington 3040 Craig, and sort of found a starting point, and worked up a real good load with the 195 grain bullet, running about 2050. About 2,050 feet a second. I know the gun will take more than that. I know that's you know, I'm not using all the potential of this cartridge, but for what I'm using the gun, what I'm going to be using the gun for, that load works. If you're interested, you know, in the data as far as, you know, what powder and the powder charge, I'll be glad to share that with you. I don't want to go into it. You know, and people are kind of funny about loading data. They don't want to get off. It's like a recipe for a good pound cake or a sweet potato pie or something. They just, you know, people just won't come off that, and I don't either. But if you're interested in getting started on the loading data, I'll be glad to share that with you if you'll just message me directly, and I'll send it to you. You know, you can use it. I do have a chronograph. I chronograph these loads, so they're not just something that I pulled out of my ass, and, you know, to come up with. They're this legitimate, and they're good, safe load. Assuming your rifle's in good condition, which you, as the old disclaimer, you know, have it checked by a competent gunsmith. I don't know. Good luck on finding one of those. But anyhow, if you're at this point, if you're at this level of doing stuff, you probably already know enough about guns to know that the gun's safe or not. And that's what you end up with. You'll end up with a you know, an 8x56 that'll fit your rifle. You can shoot your gun, go hunting with it, whatever you want to do. I don't think I've left anything out. If there were any specific questions, you message me, and I'll get back with you and let you know. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.